Welcome back. Today we're going to start putting this 305 back together. So here's my list of things we need. We need an oil pan because the one that we have is smashed up, and a gasket looks to be right. We need a timing cover. We need timing cover gasket. From what I've studied up on it, looks like we have those that come with it. We need a timing chain set. We still got to pull the bottom gear. We need intake gaskets. We may get an intake. This one's okay, but it has this block off plate for something. I don't know, probably some kind of emissions crap from the 80s. So we'll play that one by ear a little bit. Need the gaskets for the intake. We need a distributor gasket. We'll reuse the distributor that we already had. It seemed to be working fine. Valve cover gaskets. The clamps to go around the valve cover gaskets. I want to get studs instead of the long screw-in style. I just don't like them. They're stupid. Carb gasket. And we got to figure out some kind of replacement for the factory exhaust manifolds. I just don't like them. They got the tin on the outside of them. I guess I could cut that off if I really was feeling up to it. So they got that, and then they also have some ports for extra crap. Maybe I just cut it off and seal it up. We'll see how that goes. We are trying to save a little bit of money, but we gotta go to the parts store, and that means we get to ride in square body. Let's go for a ride. That sexy joker is. So you look right there, you can see a little wet spot, fresh. We got a rear main seal leak, I'm pretty sure, going on. Lunch money. Phone. Bring the Thunder keychain. So we're going to AutoZone first because I've already checked with Summit and O'Reilly's, so I have a pretty good handle AutoZone on pretty much what I need. But a buddy of mine has a commercial account with AutoZone, so we're gonna go see if we can get a better discount on the parts. Anything that we can't beat Summit with, then we'll just order from Summit. I know we're probably gonna order exhaust from Summit, so we'll see how it plays out. But it's getting hot in here. I'm rolling the windows down. Hey, you know what? Maybe we'll just kick the AC on since we got it. If I can get to this cable. Okay. Now. So I started with AutoZone, and they didn't have everything I needed, but they had a pretty good bit. I got a good deal. And then I went to O'Reilly's to get the rest of it. And they had most of it, but I had to run across town to the other O'Reilly's to get the last little odds and ends. So across town we go. Good morning. All right, so we got still the same spot really, but I did go to the store and I bought oil pan, gasket, I'm assuming, intake gasket, timing cover, water pump, timing chain set, some clamp downs and some bolts. So yeah, thinking first thing, just going to clean up over here a little bit, get a little space, and then paint the block. All right, we got the oil pan painted, the trans painted, and the engine block painted the best I can for a shitty tape job and not good enough prep, but it's all blue. It'll hold up for a little while, so we're gonna go with it. Alright, I have two different puller sets, but apparently I don't have any of them that have the good old-fashioned finger clamp style, you know, where it grabs around the edges. So I'm running to the parts store to get some, get yet another puller set. All right, after much hunting, I found the bolts. All right, so through the magic of YouTube, we're not really that much further behind than where we were last, but we have a different oil pan now and a different oil pan gasket. Although this motor is out of the 84, the rear main seal is apparently a one-piece, which leads me to believe that this motor is actually post 86, so 87 and above, I believe. 305s have a single rear main, which creates a wider arch and a different bolt pattern for just the very back bolt and the arch. So the arch is taller, wider, bolt pattern's wider. Everything else stays the same. So here shortly we'll be cleaning this thing up, throwing the gasket on it, and throwing that oil pan. As far as the timing cover went, what was it, 9 foot-pounds? It was like 100 something inch pounds. Did that all the way around. Everything fit nice and tight. The only thing we really got to pay attention to is making sure we get plenty of sealant RTV on the corners. Probably a touch right in here just to make sure that stays nice and tight. There wasn't any obvious rear main seal leaks whenever I was running it, but being that this is covered in gunk, possibly. We'll have to see. If there is one, we'll address that when we get there. So that's where we're at right now. All right, now that we have everything back to functioning again, we're gonna make sure these corners are cleaned out real good. We'll make sure that all the oil's out, because we're gonna put some RTV in these edges, and we don't want it to be leaking, you know. All right, now that that's done, we're gonna put a little RTV in these corners. Once we get that done, we're gonna set this thing down. So I did a little Google search. Came out to like 7 to 9 foot-pounds for torque spec. 10's 120. I'm doing 100, so I guess I'm somewhere around 8.5. So this is the intake manifold that was on it whenever I got the car, because it's got the big little hole. I think we're gonna have to run a adapter, which, I mean, it had one of those on it also. So I'm contemplating swapping out, not just because of that, but also because This thing has some kind of block off plate right here. Be nice not to have that. As you can tell, the top of the water neck and temp seat are pretty ate up. So yeah, I'm gonna think about this a little bit more. It is also steel, so we can save a little bit of weight if we want aluminum. The water pump is over in the box. I already bought a new one of those. We still got the exhaust manifolds. I'm still contemplating whether we want to swap those out or go with the factory ones. So there you have it. If you have a 305, you need a new oil pan or you need an oil pan gasket, make sure you clarify whether you have the larger or smaller rear main seal. So the way I understand it is a two-piece main seal, two-piece rear main seal is on the older 1986 pre 305s, and then the 1987 post 305s have a one main seal. The one main seal is much larger, notably larger, like an inch wider than the other. So anyhow, if whenever you're getting one, you can probably even see the difference if you just really pay attention when you pull off the old one and just go look. I mean, it's an inch wider. So other than that, everything went together pretty good. After I got everything together and realized that I had the wrong oil pan gasket and oil pan, rode back to town, swapped those out. It did make me wonder, what if I got the wrong timing chain? Because there was a slight amount of slack. Not as much as the one that was on it, so it's going to run. Probably going to leave it. Intake manifold. This is the one that was on it originally. It's got a 4-hole, too big, too little hole faceplate on it. I'm thinking about getting a Edelbrock aluminum intake manifold just to simplify the carb connection. The clamps that I have on your side of the motor, on the driver's side, they, for the valve covers, they are pre-bent. So I don't know what's going on with that, but the other 4 came out perfectly. I have a suspicion somebody went and swapped clamps. And whenever they did, they just put the ones that they had bent back in the box and carried them right back up there and turned them in, because the way the box is made, you don't have to cut it open or anything. So maybe not. I don't know. The edges aren't even touching. So gonna have to find another pair of clamps. It's possible that I'm gonna have to get a steel core gasket for the intake manifolds. The ones that I have on there right now are just rubber gaskets, so it's imperative that the clamps space out the tension evenly. That was probably the largest leak that we had on the motor. Change out the intake manifold, change out those 4 clamps. I got a water pump to throw on the front. I think I actually need a harmonic balancer. If I remember correctly, it was cracked up. I guess I don't have to have a harmonic balancer, but we'll probably go ahead and throw one on just to be safe. And then, yeah, we'll decide what we're going to do about the exhaust. And this thing's going to be ready to fire up. Stay tuned. Next week's my days off. I want this thing running, maybe even in the car next week. Talk to y'all later.